Good morning, everybody. This is Patrick Pinto with BeeSeen Solutions, and welcome to another riveting episode of the ABCs of Digital Marketing. Today, we're sitting with one of our premier clients, Scott Anderson, Global Recruiter Network of Richmond, Virginia. Good morning, Scott. How are you today?
Hey, Patrick. Doing well. Good morning.
I had to ask you now, knowing that we do a lot of work with a lot of the global recruiter networks across the country. What makes yours? I know what it does, but tell the world what makes yours unique. What is your kind of wheelhouse of what you do?
Sure. I'll answer it in two ways. Number one, I'm an industrial engineer by training, and I like the GRN process. So the first thing I like about GRN is there is a common process, but then to your point, you put your unique perspective in it. I worked for Anthem for 12 years, for American Express for 8. So I've got kind of that big company corporate background in some ways that helps me understand the bureaucracy. Then I also, the last 5 years before I started the company, worked for small consulting firms, which I really enjoyed. And part of the reason my wife and I founded this 2 years ago is my dad had his own business for 50 years. And it's hard getting it started, but the rewards are really, really good. And the thing I like is I can really meet any people that I want to meet in terms of reaching out. But the folks I really concentrate on are people kind of like myself, that type of background that either in health industry, health plans, a lot of consultants. And what you find is once you find a person or two and you click, they typically refer you out to others and you build your network that way. So it's been an interesting year and a half.
Well said. Well said. Now, in the global recruiters network world, in your world, what is the prospective client, the prospective candidate that you look to bring in and accomplish with?
Sure. So a normal targeted company would be a health plan, a small health plan, a small blue, a commercial health plan. And I would reach out to typically their COO or their SVP of ops and talk to them about their business. Hey, where are you doing well? Where are you not doing well? As a former consultant, that I know there's a lot of consultants out there doing pieces. And what I like to be able to do is kind of act as a consulting recruiter in a way. What's your business problem? Who are you trying to hire? In some cases, it's pretty well clean cut. Hey, our director of ops just left. We need another director of ops. In some cases, with a little bit smaller companies, there's not a clear succession plan. And so if I can work in a consulting manner with that hiring manager or his or her team, it really helps a lot. So generally speaking, I'd say a C-suite or VP level hiring a person a rung or two below them. We go anywhere from senior managers to senior VPs. Haven't done a lot of hourly workers or CEOs, but I kind of stay in that mid-level executive, generally speaking. I'll do anything, but that's kind of my sweet spot. And actually, recently had an opportunity to bid on a CEO for a firm, and actually called one of the other GRN offices and worked at a tag team or split on it. Because I know the company, I just don't know that level of the pharmaceutical executive ranks. So I'm unique in the sense that I talk to people in that way, but I'm also kind of a commodity in the sense that I can pull any of the other GRN offices if I'm kind of in a bind. And within 30 minutes, I had somebody on the phone helping me. So that was nice.
Interesting. I like in working with you and working with your location. I really love the relationship that we've been able to build and the back and forth that we have and the friendship and the working relationship that we've put together. What I like is your due diligence and your expertise and your patience in when we look to talk about obviously the lead generation work we're doing with you, but when we look to talk with you, you're very granular of who the approach is that we want to go after and who we want to talk to and how it wants to be done and the step process that we put in place. And it's all been directed and approved obviously through you. And what I love about it is that I see a long-term friendship, a long-term relationship. And I love the ability of what we're doing together to be so successful, especially during this COVID time. How have you seen COVID kind of really make an impact on you?
Yeah. First of all, you're not getting my Bud Light. Secondly, I'm not helping you shovel the 22 inches of snow that you guys have today. We only had 3. One of the advantages of being in Richmond, Virginia, is we actually have seasons. So I still can look outside and see about an inch of snow, and it's going to be 51 this afternoon. So not rubbing it in at all, anybody. But as far as COVID, I moved out of this, basically a suburb of Richmond, about 3 or 4 years ago when I got remarried, and we built a house about 30 minutes from Richmond. And in some ways, it's almost a little bit insulated from the world. And honestly, during COVID this last year, it's early February of 2021 right now. For the last 10 months, it's been nice to be on the sticks. And it's from a work perspective, and I think a lot of people that listening to this can probably relate. When you go work from home, there's a little bit of a loss of social, what's the right word? Social back and forth.
Social interaction.
Personal interactions, water cooler stuff. So I end up, quite frankly, using chat and text a good bit now. And I have probably 24 candidates that I communicate with via text probably once a week. From a COVID pure perspective, business hadn't been a great time to start a recruiting firm, quite honestly. Last January 2020, I had a VP candidate that they loved. It was a perfect fit. Everything was working right. She had what we thought was her final interview at the last day or two of January, first part of February. And then they put her on hold for 4 months. And that's nerve-wracking. From a financial perspective, if you work for a big corporation, there's some downsides in terms of organizational, but the upside is you know where your next paycheck is coming from. When you're an entrepreneur or a smaller company, the upside is you can make a lot of decisions and do a lot of things. The downside is, you know, when there's a downside, it's all on you. And that's with COVID, I feel like the relationships that I've built will probably last longer and be deeper because we've gone through a common crisis. You know, Leadership 101, if you can take everybody through the fire, then you guys will be forged together, the people who don't burn up. And I'm hopeful that we can stay afloat in COVID and things, like I said, it's early February of 2021 right now. Things look like they're coming back. I think we've probably got 30 to 60 days before we come back to what anything will look like a normal hiring market. And the big thing, kind of reverting back to the original question on COVID, having so many people work from home, it's changed the market in terms of recruiting market because most companies are still saying no travel until COVID is over, and then we'll look at it. I have several candidates that are great fit for something, and they'll probably work it 3 to 6 months remotely, and then there'll be a decision sometimes this summer. You know, gosh, Scott, you've been working this role. It's a good fit, but we really need you to move to Podunk, Illinois. And I have a feeling there'll be another round of job insecurity probably this summer as companies go through that piece of it. My personal guess is I read something the other day that about 8% of professionals were working from home in 2016. And in 2020, obviously that went up to 30-40% of business professionals. My guess is we're going to triple that so that in 2022, if we were at 8 or 10%, probably a third of people will work from home either permanently or on a more routine basis. One of my former companies, they have a call center type environment, and they're going to put everybody in 4 shifts. So shift A will be in the building for a week, shift B for the next week. So you have some camaraderie, some ability to go in the office, but really taking advantage of the ability to work from home. And for those of you in big Northeast cities or cities on the coast, the plan probably is less and less office space, but more opportunity to move to other places. So as a recruiter, Patrick, I like that because there's a lot of opportunity. What it does make hard is one of the things that I do a lot of coaching when I'm talking to somebody, because I moved 4 times in my career. I moved from Arkansas to Texas to Virginia to North Carolina, and I'm back home in Virginia now. And I did that for my career. A lot of people, if you have kids in middle school or high school, it's tough. So I like having that one-on-one conversation. I've been there, I've done that. And it's kind of nice to be able to do that. But in this environment, you really need a partner, a coach, somebody who understands the market. And it's moving so fast that no one person can do everything. But it's nice to be able to have somebody you can call up and say, hey, what's going on with this? And get an honest answer from somebody who knows what they're talking about.
You know what I love about you, Scott, is you answered 4 questions I was going to ask all in the one question.
I'm efficient.
You're ahead of the you're ahead of the circle. That's what I love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to ask before I ask it. You just answer it already. That's the best part of the interviews. I love it. I love it. If you were to leave people today with a feeling, what would you want them to know about you? What would you want them to know about your GRN location? And what would you want to leave them with as a lasting impression of this interview?
Okay. I would say that if you're either going through a career change, worried about going through a career change, or hiring somebody that you may not have met in person, these days, I know a lot of companies have hired people purely through video. Some of them will go in and get a badge or something, but then they're video the whole time. I know a couple companies that have hired dozens of people, professional level people, sight unseen. You will see them on Zoom, but you never met them face to face. I think that'll change our environment. So what I would say is building the relationship, understanding what you want, what you're good at, and then together we'll find that job. A lot of people do the match, right? They go on Indeed or LinkedIn and they find, oh, I'm a director of operations, I'm a director of project management, but they don't really think through the company. I'm small enough as a small office that I know my clients personally, and that has helped a lot as I'm starting the business. 3 years from now, as we grow, it's probably going to be a slightly different approach. But today, I would say it's that personal approach. If I place a person a month, 12 people a year, I'd be really, really happy. And I really focus on the quality piece of it. So if you're just looking for your next immediate job, I'm probably not the right guy. If you're not sure you're in the best spot and you want to think through it a little bit, I'm happy to do that. And I actually enjoy the coaching and counseling piece. And I told somebody the other day that I really wish there'd been somebody like me 15 years ago. There probably was, and I didn't know about them. So by marketing myself a little bit, hopefully I can find a couple people like that. That would be interested, especially in my industry, healthcare, leadership, operations, business development. I do a little bit of IT, but more IT in terms of implementation of projects. So that's kind of the type of thing I'm looking for.
It's funny you said that, and I want to say this. I want to give you the compliment. You said you wish there was somebody like you years ago. There was. It was you. Legends are born and created, and you've grown into the legend that you are. You've grown into the dominant individual of who you are. It truly is a pleasure for the BeeSeen team to work with you and for your GRN location, Scott. We love the opportunity. We love the time we spend together, and we look to grow with you and for you and your firm for the longest of years that you want to continue doing what you're doing. If you were to leave one more thing with everyone, how would you want people to find you? How do you want Scott Anderson, GRN, how do you want them to find you?
It's a good question. So Scott, middle initial K Anderson on LinkedIn, GRN of Richmond on the web or on LinkedIn. And I think you can also go on GRN Recruiters, and I'm the Richmond office. I'm also, if you click in health insurance, health plans, but really the best way to do it is LinkedIn. And I don't have a very strong presence in terms of a lot of outside marketing, but the word of mouth is pretty strong. So geographically, I place people all throughout the country. Generally speaking, I end up getting people more in the mid-Atlantic area in the Southeast, but Cambia is on my list. I have several companies all over the place. So very interesting mix. I would say LinkedIn is probably the best bet. And my phone number is 804-932-6144. Vote for me November 3rd, Scott Anderson, 804-932-6144.
Scott, I have to thank you for taking the time today to meet with us and speak with us and let the world know of what you do and how well you do it. If you get a chance, everyone, please look up Scott Anderson, give him a look up on LinkedIn, take the time, do the due diligence that he'll do for you. I promise in a conversation you have with him, you'll walk away very pleased, you'll walk away very happy, and you'll walk away very satisfied. Again, Scott, thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks.
And as we always like to say at BeeSeen, it's always good to be seen. Thank you.